Dear students, let us start with another topic, that is a comparative account of vertebrate brain. We have to compare the brain in the major classes of vertebrates, that is among the Pisces, among the amphibians, and among the reptiles, aves, and then the mammals. Myself Sarshad Hussain from Government Degree College, Sunkote. Brain that we have to study is basically a part of the nervous system. Nervous system is a network of nerve cells and the fibers. This is the nerve cell and the nerve fiber, the neuron that you might have studied in your earlier classes. Now, this nerve cell or the neuron basically transmit the nerve impulse between different parts of the body. So, you can say that the signals within different parts of the body are communicated through the nerve cell and their fibers. Nervous system has three roles to play in the body, that is one is to respond to the stimuli. So, whenever there is a stimulus present in the environment, it is the nervous system which perceives the stimuli by the receptors present on the body, then respond to the stimuli in such a way that the organism may react and orient itself favorably in the surrounding environment. Means, as per the stimuli, the response is initiated. As per the need of the stimuli of the environment, the response of the body is initiated by the nervous system. Second function is coordination. Now, nervous system along with the endocrine system of the body, you know the hormones that are produced by the endocrine system, they coordinate and integrate the activities of various parts of the body. So, that whole of your body must work like a single unit, must work in coordination with one another, must work harmoniously. The action of the body parts, different action of the different body parts must not be in opposite direction, they must be in a coordinated manner, in a regulated manner. So, coordination is another function of the nervous system. Then there is another function associated with the nervous system is the learning, that the nervous systems has the capacity that by accumulating the past memories, the past experience, it learns how to behave in future. Basically, the nervous system is of three types, or you can say the nervous system has three parts. One is the central nervous system. Central nervous system is having the brain and the spinal cord. So, this is the system which basically takes the messages from the sensory receptors present in the body and then interpret the message and then communicate the response through the effector organs of the body. Then you have the peripheral nervous system. So, all the nerves coming out from the brain as well as from the spinal cord that are supplied to the body, they constitute the peripheral nervous system. Now, peripheral nervous system is basically a connecting link between the central nervous system and the receptor organs present on the body, and in turn they are the connection between the effector organ of the body and the central nervous system. So, means when the message through receptor is communicated through peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system initiate the response, and the response is then communicated through this peripheral nervous system to the effector, and the effector organs act accordingly. Then you are having the third one, the autonomic nervous system. So, basically autonomic nervous system is a part of the peripheral nervous system. Those nerves that innervate the smooth and the cardiac muscles and the glands, they initiate a response of the body which is not under your control, that is involuntary action, or the automatic reaction is initiated by the body. Like you can see the peristalsis action of your intestine, the beating action of your heart is not under your control, it is regulated by the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is a part of the peripheral nervous system. Now, coming to the brain, brain is a, as we have studied in the previous slides, that basically the brain is the part of the central nervous system. Let us look at the brain now. Brain further has its three parts. The forebrain, called the prosencephalon. So, you are having this portion up to this arrow, this is the prosencephalon. Then you are having the midbrain or called the mesencephalon, and then you are having the hindbrain called the rhombencephalon. These three parts are further divided. Like you can see, this prosencephalon has two parts, the telencephalon and then the posterior diencephalon. The midbrain, the mesencephalon, has no further parts, but the hindbrain again has the two parts, the metencephalon and the myelencephalon. This nervous system, the brain, the brain is having the cavity present inside it in a series from one end to other. These are called the ventricles. You can see this is the first and the second ventricle, third ventricle and the fourth ventricle. These cavities are filled with the fluid called the cerebrospinal fluid. This cerebrospinal fluid is continuous with the spinal cord also, because spinal cord is again having a canal present inside it. Now, these different subdivisions that we have studied, that earlier you are having major three parts, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Then you are having the further division of the forebrain and the hindbrain. So, in total you are having the 5 parts, you can say telencephalon, diencephalon, third one is the mesencephalon, which is not having another part, and then the metencephalon and the myelencephalon of the rhombencephalon. So, you are having the 5 parts are the subdivisions. Now, each subdivisions in turn is having certain specific structures, like the telencephalon. This one is having the cerebral hemisphere present, and together they are called the cerebrum, and again it is having the anterior part which is called as rhinocephalon. Then look at the diencephalon. The diencephalon may have a roof which is called epithalamus, its sides are called thalamus, and the floor is called hypothalamus. Then you are having the mesencephalon, which is having the floor made up of the crura cerebri, and then the metencephalon, the myelencephalon, has the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata. You can see this is the cerebellum and this is the medulla oblongata. In turn, the cavities present inside them are called, in the anterior most portion you are having the cavity which is called first ventricle or the rhinocele. Then you are having the second one in the cerebral hemisphere called the lateral ventricle or the paracele. Then you are having the opening through which this cavity may sometimes communicate with the cavity behind called the foramen of Monro. And then you are having the in diencephalon the third cavity present, which is called the ventral or the diocele. And then you are having the ether or cerebral aqueduct cavity present over here, and then the fourth cavity which is called the ventricle or the metacere. So, you are having the first ventricle, second ventricle, third ventricle and the fourth ventricle, and their other names are rhinocele, lateral ventricle also called paracele. You are having the foramen of Monro also, third ventricle is called the diocele and the fourth ventricle is called the metacele. In between them you may have the ether or the cerebral aqueduct. Before comparing the brains of various organs, various classes of the vertebrates that we have already discussed, that we have to compare it within Pisces, amphibian, reptiles, birds and mammals. You must have knowledge of various associated structures present with these parts that I have already discussed in the previous slide, and their major role, so that you may be able to perceive that what sort of changes are occurring from lower vertebrates to higher vertebrates, because the higher vertebrates have more developed brain, whereas the lower vertebrates do not have the much developed brain. In the rhenicephalon, you are having the olfactory bulbs, which are meant for the sense of smell, olfactory tract and the olfactory lobes. All these three are having the function of sense of smell. Then you are having another associated structure called the paleocortex on pallium. Paleocortex is also called the smell brain, as it is again associated with the sense of smell. The pallium, what is pallium? Pallium is basically a layer of gray and the white matter. Gray matter means the nerve cells, white matter means axon that covers the upper surface of the some parts of the brain. So, then the cerebral hemisphere or the cerebrum, they may have the associated structure in the form of corpora striata or the basal ganglia. They are meant for the reward and reinforcement circuit of the brain, as whenever you are doing something good and if you are getting reward, the perception of your brain is perceived in this part. Then the corpus callosum, it is related with the it is the connection between two brain hemisphere, that is the cerebral hemisphere right and the cerebral hemisphere left. Then you are having the neocortex on pallium. This associated structure is meant for sensory perception, cognition, generation of motor commands, spatial reasoning and language. And then you are having the paraphysis, a gland that helps in calcium metabolism. Then in the epithalamus, you are having the habenuli. If you are not having you are not getting the rewards of your work, then the what you think is basically performed by the habenuli. Pineal apparatus, again it is a gland responsible for sleep behavior, and the parapineal or the parietal or the third eye, which converts the photic stimuli into neuroendocrine message and regulate temperature. So, it has two function. One is conversion of the photic stimuli, that means what you have seen through your eyes, into neuroendocrine messages and regulate temperature also. Then with the hypothalamus, you are having the hypothalamic nuclei, which link the nervous system with the pituitary. You are having the optic chiasma, crossing of optic nerve fibers is called the optic chiasma. So, because the left side optic nerves cross and attach to the right side of the hemisphere, and then the right side with the left side. So, they crisscross each other, which is called the optic chiasma. You are again having the median eminence. Median eminence is a gateway for the release of hypothalamic hormones. You are having the infundibular stalk. Infundibular stalk is a tube that connects the hypothalamus with the pituitary lying below the brain, and then you are having the pituitary glands also associated with this hypothalamus. Then saccus vasculosus, basically a sensory vascular organ, is again present over there. The mammillary bodies are present there, which are meant for the collection. They are basically the collection of structure found between brain stem and the cerebrum. So, cerebrum together, the hemisphere are called the cerebrum. They are connected with the brain stem. Brain stem, you know, through which the brain is attached with the spinal cord. So, this connection is maintained by the mammillary bodies, and the anterior choroid plexus that produce cerebrospinal fluid, that is present inside the ventricles or the cavity of the brain. And then with this part, there are associated structure optic lobes, which analyze visual inputs, auditory, which analyze the hearing inputs, and the cerebral peduncles that connect the brain stem with the thalami. And then with the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata, you are having the trapezoid body pons that connects it is a basically connection of auditory fibers. Restiform bodies are present over there, which connect the cerebellum with the medulla oblongata and the pyramid, white matter structure of medulla oblongata, which is called the pyramid. So, you are having the major three parts of the brain, then there are subdivisions of the brains into five major subdivisions, then there are so many parts, and then these parts are again having the so many associated structure. Now, in the next slide to come, in the comparative account, we shall look at these structures, that what are the structures which are highly developed in the one class and they are less developed in the other class, so that we can understand the evolution of the brain and the comparison of the brain between different classes. So, basically when you move from lower vertebrates to higher vertebrates, the brain becomes progressively enlarged. One difference is in the size, that the higher vertebrates has more large sized brain. Look at the Pisces first. In the Pisces, let us look at the cartilaginous fishes. Now, here you are having the olfactory lobes connected with the cerebrum with the help of the olfactory peduncle. The olfactory lobes are well developed. Then you are having the optic lobes and pallium, they are moderate in size, they are not so highly developed. Then the midbrain cavity, that is called the ventricle. This ventricle is quite large and often extends into optic lobes. So, it is called the optocele also. Then you are having the sacculus vasculosus, we have already discussed a vascular sensory organs. It is attached to the pituitary, connected by fiber tract with the cerebellum. So, the thin walled saccus vasculosus is attached to the pituitary gland, you can see over there. This is the hypophysis, which is called the pituitary, and connect fibers tract with the cerebellum. So, cerebellum is the this part. So, it connect the cerebellum also. Then you are having the pineal apparatus, like you can see the pineal stalk present over there, it is well developed. The cerebellum are again especially large, because the fishes has to take swimming. So, for swimming cerebellum is very much helpful to them. So, cerebellum is well developed. Then to assist cerebellum, they again have another type of structure, which is called the restiform body. This restiform body with the in association with the cerebellum helps the animals to have a good balance during the swimming. Then you look at the Pisces. Now, in the Osteichthyes, in the bony fishes, brain is more specialized, because I have already told you that when we move from lower vertebrate to higher vertebrates, we will have more specialized type of brain, larger in size, more competitive. In perch, olfactory lobes, these olfactory lobes, olfactory lobes, then the cerebral hemispheres and the diencephalon, they are small, whereas optic lobes, this one, the optic lobe and then the cerebellum are large enough. Some may have the restiform body for helping in swimming. In bottom feeders, those fishes which feeds on bottom, they do not swim actively, they have scattered taste buds on the body surface. The anterolateral sides of the medulla show unusual bulging towards the lateral side, which is called the vagal lobes. Then the parapineal body is absent in modern teleosts. Now, look at the amphibians. They have smaller olfactory lobes, you can see. They have large optic lobes, you can see over there, they are large, and because it is so, because there is a greater reliance on the sight rather than smell, because these animals though have they have more dependency on the sight. So, optic lobes are well developed, they have less dependency on the sense of smell, so olfactory lobe is less developed. Corpus striatum or paleostriatum, which is also called floor of cerebrum, receives greater number of sensory fibers. Because it is so that this brain is highly developed. Two cerebral hemispheres show greater development in accordance with more complex activity of locomotion, hibernation, breeding, etc. Because when we are moving from lower vertebrates to higher vertebrates, these activities they are achieving the complexity, and in order to meet out the complexity, the cerebral hemispheres of the brain they are developing to a greater extent. The wall of the midbrain are thickened. Once they are thickened, then the cavity inside them, the lumen inside them is very narrow and is called the aqueduct. Cerebellum is poorly developed, mere into transverse band. You can see very less developed cerebellum is there in the amphibians, and so it is present in the form of a only transverse band. You can see indicating a decrease in muscular activities, because cerebellum is associated with the muscular activities. We have seen that in the fishes this portion was highly developed, because fishes has to take muscular activities all the time because they have to swim, but amphibians do not have such an active life. So, their muscular activity is little bit restricted. So, here the cerebellum is not developed. So, medulla and the pineal body are very small. So, you can see this and then the medulla, they are small. Then you look at the reptiles. The brain is more advanced once we are moving from one class to other. Telencephalon increased to become larger region of the brain. So, this portion is enlarged enough. Olfactory lobes are large, you can see. Cerebral hemispheres are also very large and much larger than the amphibians, because of a greater thickness and enlargement of corpora striata. A fine vomeronasal nerve from the organ of Jacobson goes to the olfactory bulb. You must remember that the reptiles have a organ called the Jacobson organ present inside their buccal cavity, with the help of which they can have the sense of smell. So, the nerve from the Jacobson organ is supplied to the olfactory bulb present over there, through which they can sense the smell. Parapineal body, which is also called the parietal eye or the third eye, as we have studied already, is still found in Sphenodon and some modern lizards, but is vestigial or absent in other reptiles. A pair of auditory lobes are found posterior to optic lobes, which are not hollow. So, you are having the auditory lobes present over there. All of this structure may not be visible in a simplified diagram, because if you look at the structure of the brain of each class, it is very complex structure, and you will not be able to complete this whole topic within one lesson. In that case, the brain structure of every class is a separate topic, but here we have to take certain standard structures into consideration while looking at the diagram. A pair of auditory lobes are found posterior to optic lobes, which are not hollow. Then the third ventricle is reduced to a narrow cerebral aqueduct. So, it means by reduction in the capacity of the this cavities, which are called the ventricles, the third ventricle, it is forming the cerebral aqueduct. Cerebellum is somewhat pear shaped and larger size than that of the amphibians. Now, if you look at the birds over here, again they are having much larger brain. So, olfactory lobes are very small over there, because they do not have to rely much upon the sense of smell. Two cerebral hemispheres are large enough, they are smooth, and they project posteriorly over the diencephalon. So, they are covering the diencephalon and they are meeting the cerebellum directly. Pallium is thin, but corpus striatum is greatly enlarged, making lateral ventricle small and vertical. Third ventricle is also narrow due to great development of thalami. Optic lobes are well developed, because sense of sight is very much highly developed in case of the birds, and these optic lobes are little bit laterally displaced, they are not present in the center. The cerebellum is greatly enlarged with several superficial folds, you can see over there, called the flocculi, due to many activities involving muscular coordinations and equilibrium, such as fight and perching. Now, you have seen that in the fishes the cerebellum was developed, in the amphibians it was not well developed, and then in the reptiles, because their activity is restricted, they do not have much to coordinate between the as far as the muscular coordination is concerned, but the birds again has a very active life. So, their cerebellum is again highly developed. Then look at the mammals. In the mammals, you can see the brain is proportionately larger as compared to other vertebrates. The cerebral hemispheres are smaller and smooth in prototheria, but large and smooth in metatheria, and much enlarged and lobed, often having many lobed in case of the eutheria. In case of the rabbit, the surface of the cerebral hemisphere is smooth with few fissure, like you can see here, they do not have much, it is almost a smooth. Similar is the case with the rabbit, while in case of the sheep you can see the, and in the men also, the dorsal surface, if you look at, it is highly convoluted, and it forms the elevations called the gyri, and then the furrows called the sulci. This folding or the convolution of the cerebral hemispheres increases the surface cortex or gray matter containing nerve cells, resulting in greater intelligence, because more will the number of the nerve cells, more will be the intelligence. So, they are doing so without adding to the size of the brain. So, because of this folding, you are having a small size, but harboring greater number of the nerve cells. Then the two hemispheres are joined internally by a means of transverse band of fibers called the corpus callosum. This corpus callosum is not found in other vertebrates, even not found in prototheria and metatheria of the mammals. Olfactory lobes are very much small, you can see, but very clearly defined. Cerebral hemispheres covers the olfactory lobes because it is enlarged enough, and diencephalon also, and the midbrain also. So, all these parts have gone under to the cerebral hemispheres because of the enlargement of the cerebral hemispheres. So, mammals have the characteristic feature of having 4 solid optic lobes called corpora quadrigemina. The third ventricle or the iter is laterally compressed vertical passage, forming a vertical passage called the cerebral aqueduct. Coming to the cerebellum, this part is also large, is conspicuously folded, you can say, and may overlie both midbrain and medulla. So, it is overlapping on the posterior medulla and the anterior midbrain. Usual folds of cerebellums are median vermis. So, fold of the cerebellum are called the median vermis. The two lateral flocculi. So, you are having a median vermis, you are having the two lateral flocculi and their mushroom like projections, the paraflocculi. Again I will repeat that all these structure are not possible to show within this topic. Hindbrain have pyramids carrying voluntary motor impulse from higher centers, that means from the pons varoli with crossing fibers connecting opposite side of cerebrum and the cerebellum. So, hindbrain also have a trapezoid body of the transverse fibers relaying impulse of the sound. So, their function is to relay the impulse of the sound. Then hindbrain contains centers of regulations of digestion, respiration and the circulation. Thanks. This is all about the various kinds of the comparative account of the brain in case of the vertebrates.